Hey, this is head coach Jordan here from Without Bounds now on the YouTubes, just Without Bounds on Rumble, where we always heal, uplift, and empower you, my friend. We call it Hue for short, and we look forward to adding color to your life today. Yes, the day is so super special, super special. Ugh, I woke up with beard hair or bed beard today. Ugh, can't seem to get this looking nice, so forgive me if I look a little scraggly. Anyway. Today's super special, because today is my first installment in a new series that I'm introducing called Get with the Deprogram. Get with the what? Deprogram, people. Yes, Get with the Deprogram. And this is it's a series, a series meant to essentially help you build up your resilience. It's a darker version and spin on a lot of the lighter content that we produce here at Without Bounds. You know, my aim as a coach and spiritual person and spiritual, practitioner and hopefully a guide to most of you, is to bring the light, is to bring the love, to bring the wisdom and power of seeing the bigger picture, the gestalt, and helping you actualize your beauty and potential in this life. That said, sometimes we have to trek and trudge through the mire of it. We have to go through a thing sometimes to arrive at a place where we have better understanding. And sometimes understanding the wisdom and power and love in this world is to reconcile, and to consolidate and bring into the fold that which is the dark, that which is the not so great and bad and evil and meh, demonic and all the things that people hate. Sometimes we have to hold it in view and understand what it is so that we can move past it. Because anything that limits your potential, anything that limits your ability to know yourself as a powerful co-creator and spiritual being, needs to be seen, dissected, and understood so that we can get past it, overcome it, and have the strength and resilience to always know when these forces are coming at us. So this talk alone today is going to be enough to explode your head, which we'll always be seeking to do, metaphorically, of course, the algorithm. But again, today we're going to be looking at a concept known as hyper novelty. Hyper what? Hyper novelty, which is the overloading of the human capacity or any species capacity to keep up with change. It's an overloading of the capacity of any species, sorry, I'm obsessed. Any species to keep up with change. It doesn't necessarily make sense right now, I'm sure. Right now, it doesn't make sense, I'm sure. But hold strong, my friends, hold strong, because we are about to lay it on thick for you if we haven't already. It's like butter. We're melting it here. So ultimately, I will be aiming to show you how hyper novelty is, you know, appearing in your life, how it's impacting you. I'm going to show you how it's this parasitic and destabilizing force in all of our lives. The end result being what I call hyper-individualism, a cultural prescription for selfhood meant to destabilize, anesthetize, medicalize, atomize, and neuter you. What's all that about? We'll get there. Well, we'll be above board most of the time for all of this, simply because at the end of the day, I'm gonna not be the one to just tell you what to do. That's not my MO here. I want you to reflect on the message. I want you to process the message that is shared here, and to see how this has been impacting you. See how hyper novelty impacts you, and where it shows up in your life, so that you can synthesize it all and take action from there. That's all it's about, baby. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only here to share my best view, my best suggestions from my heart to heal, uplift, and empower you. So buckle up, sit tight, and let's dive in. Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second here. Catch my bearings and get the screen shared and ready to go. 1 second here, friends. 1 second. 1 second. Not a moment longer, of course. But again, you know, like, share, subscribe, do that thing. Do that thing where you hit that button with the thumbs up, not the thumbs down. Please don't hit that one. Subscribe, share this video where you want to get the word out about what hyper novelty is, how it's impacting everybody across the board, and how we can all work together, build ourselves up as individuals, as a community, to hold that Hue guard, the heal, uplift, and empower guard. We are the Hue guard, my friends. We are the heroes. All right, sorry. And without further ado, sharing screen. All right, slideshow, ready, set, and go. Well, go. There we go. Make myself bigger, all pretty and stuff. All right, perfect. Hypernovelty, too much new. Shall we? We shall. Yes, 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 yes. So, we shall discuss this day hypernovelty, as coined by the great doctors Brett Weinstein and Heather Hine, PhDs of evolutionary biology. Yes, yes, yes. This term was coined from their book, which I believe is called The Hunter-Gatherer's Guide, the 21st Century. This one right here. If you don't have it, if you've never encountered it, do yourself a favor. Go get it. If you've never encountered Dr. Brett and Dr. Heather on the Dark Horse podcast, please, please subscribe to them on Rumble, on YouTube here too, and on Spotify, etc., wherever podcasts are sold or delivered. You get it. They've been indispensable to me. Dr. Brett Weinstein has been supremely indispensable. And he and Heather have been sources of wisdom for me, intellect, intelligence, just have helped me build my resilience over the last few years, especially these last 4 years. So, I want you to just hold in your mind for now that hypernovelty refers again to that overloaded, exhausted capacity of a species to keep up with change in their ecosystem environment, internally, externally. There's just too much change. Next, we'll talk about the manifestations. We're going to review some of the infestations or how hypernovelty shows up in our world and the downstream impacts and effects on us thereby. Last, we'll discuss a few strategies to begin reversing the tide that is breaking you, me, and everyone, breaking us all down. And we're going to discuss on how to reverse this so that we can protect, preserve, and build ourselves up in the here and now and the tomorrow to come. So, you ready, baby? You ready? Let's do this. Let's do it. Okay. So, don't laugh too hard at what you're seeing. Hypernovelty. Too much of a good thing can break us all. Yes, shown here, the lovely rendition or our lovely renditions of AI depicting kids doing all sorts of weird things with cleaning products that are completely made up by AI, and ostensibly these things that make our home smell better. Yeah, AI, the stuff that it generates. It's weird, don't it? This is not an endorsement for kids to do anything with cleaning products ever, other than the intended uses, which is to clean things. Do not ever drink, consume, inhale, or snuff any cleaning product or home smelling product. Please, my gosh. Oh, goodness. With that said, I want to read briefly from A Hunter-Gatherer's Guide to the 21st Century on what hypernovelty is. What is hypernovelty as defined from the horse's mouth itself. So let's hear. The best, most all-encompassing way to describe our world, the one we live in, is hypernovel. As we will show throughout the book, which you should read and buy, or buy and read, whichever. Reverse the two. Humans are extraordinarily well adapted to and equipped for change. But the rate of change itself is so rapid now that our brains, our bodies, and social systems are perpetually out of sync. For millions of years, we lived among friends and extended family. But today, many people don't even know their neighbors' names. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Some of the most fundamental truths, like the fact of two sexes, are increasingly dismissed as lies. I'm not going there. The cognitive dissonance spawned by trying to live in a society that is changing faster than we can accommodate is turning us into people who cannot fend for ourselves. Yeah. Simply put, it's killing us. Yes, so too much of a good thing can break us all, and in its unfoldment, it may end up killing us all. But I digress. Ain't that something, friends? So, what do you think are the ways our lives are changing too fast? In what ways are our lives changing too fast? Can you think of anything that has been introduced to our world in the last 100 or 200 years since our Earth's population has exploded that would contribute to a world of things changing too fast? Let's ponder this together. Yes, yes, yes. And if, of course, you have anything that comes to mind different than what we share here, or you want to expand upon what we've shared here today, please share them in the comments. And you can always remember that you can email us at withoutboundsnow@gmail.com, withoutboundsnow@gmail.com, because we would love to know how hypernovelty is impacting you, how it's affecting you, what you think is going on. I want to know. Please share them in the comments. Again, like, share, subscribe, do all that thing. Some more here, baby. All right. So while we ponder that together, I want to clear up for us um, some aspects of what normal looks like. What does normal look like? Um, which will help you to understand the predicament better. So hypernovelty leads to, this is another rendition of AI making children. My goodness, AI, you got some ways to go. But yeah, if that kid looks weird or dead inside, it's because hypernovelty, it's new stuff and new you, only not as great as the old one. Yeah, that. So again, we're here to just clear up some things on what normal looks like. And up front, I just needed to be reiterated a million ways till Sunday. This is not an exhaustive exploration of hypernovelty. A lot's going to be missed. I can't cover everything. Not only will I not be able to cover everything, I also don't want to make it seem like I'm glorifying the past, as if some bygone age has happened where that was the golden time. Though there might be some golden times and golden um, opportunities for our potential that we can certainly harken back to, certainly reclaim. That is certainly the mission here. Again, we want to protect you. We want to protect ourselves. We want to share things that will preserve and repair us in the face of hypernovelty and preserve us for tomorrow, preserve us for a better here and now. So let's get into some of the nuances here. So I want to start by discussing Dunbar's number. Have you ever heard of this? Dunbar's number. So we come to see that humans thrive in groups of about limited to about 150 plus or minus some number. It could be 50, could be 100, could be another 150 for all I know. But essentially, we really need to keep ourselves limited, keep ourselves in groups that are limited in that scope. Um, that being said, I would never. The word "being" doesn't belong after that. Forgive me. That said, um, we obviously live in communities that are way bigger than 150. The idea is that as you start to get beyond that 150, you probably can't keep up with all the people that you actually know. You start to, I don't know if you've had this experience where like some people just, it feels like my brain has like maybe 50 models of what humans look like, and everybody kind of fits into that 50ness where like if you start to veer like in or out of that, I like can't remember your name as well. And like you remind me of like 10 other people that I know, and I think that you're that person. It is what it is. So there's that one aspect, the Dunbar's number. Then we have, from doctors Mike and John Mew. Um, they're in the UK, I believe, and their expertise is orthodontics, is dentistry. So we can trace from their work back that human jaws used to be, and human faces used to be wider, used to be more like boxier and bigger. So it enabled us to actually hold and house all of our teeth, all of our wisdom teeth. Today, none of our teeth fits in our mouth. It's all crooked and jammed and all crazy and stuff. So like, well, my parents were blessed enough to help me get nice teeth. These gams, look at these gams. Um, I don't have all my wisdom teeth. I only have one of them. It's kind of weird. But at the end of the day, right now, we just don't have all our teeth in our mouths. And back in the day, we also used to sleep more in alignment with each other. Where no one was forced to essentially, wake up, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to be at work 7, 8 o'clock to do this thing on repeat over and over. No, we were able to live in sync with each other such that the night owls can stay up late into the night. If there was work for the community to be done that night, or if there were people that could protect us, they were the ones who were staying up. Then the people who were early risers could thereby take their place. And then people like me who have kind of like a middle ground where they wake up, the middle shifter, as I call it, can help give the morning people a break when we woke up. I totally recommend checking out Dr. Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep. It's an amazing book. hands down, some of the best cutting edge sleep research that we have today, compiled into a book for your enjoyment, reading, entertainment, and infotainment pleasure. Go get it. Go get the book. Also, so on top of Dunbar's number, on top of our jaws and our faces being wider, different, we were able to breathe better, obviously. We were able to eat better, and we'll get past that. Also, we took in way less calories. We fasted more frequently. We worked in our communities as a family to cultivate basic necessities. We took little to no medicines, and what we had, it was way different than what we had today. People weren't taking pills back then because there were no pills. There were herbs and there were concoctions and unctions and potions, etc. Not to say that, again, this is not to glorify the medicine of the past. It's just to say we really had a different relationship with medicine back in the day. Again, I'm not a doctor, if that's not obvious. We didn't have as much autism. I think today it's like what, 1 in 35 people are autistic. It's wild. Like it used to be like 1 in 10,000, like 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Things have changed, and I'm not here to tell you why. Exactly. Kind of. Anyway, infertility was an issue. Wasn't an issue. Infertility wasn't an issue. The issue back in the day was that too many babies and moms were dying. Today, infertility is an issue. It's like, wonder what's causing that. Anyway, we also took in way less information. So, in fact, the notes that I've read alone, just to get to this point, is more information than anyone would even see in a lifetime 200 years ago. Can you imagine that? Like just me reading reading my notes is more information than anyone's ever seen 200 years ago. So that said, in the last 200 years, what have we seen unfold? People are sicker, ironically, living longer with way less quality of life into their old age. People have little to no friends. They deal with unstable families, or are the ones causing their families to destabilize. People have way less children. We're not at replacement rate for our country and the world. And when people do have kids, those kids somehow end up sicker too, sadly. And we spend way more time alone on our devices. So I know that while I am recording this on a electric device and rely on you to use your device, we are obviously spending way more time on them. So our world has sacrificed a lot to achieve the convenience and loveliness that we see today. And downstream of which has led us to being vastly technologized, from steam engines to telephones, assembly lines, 3D printing. Goodness. The last 200 years have been an explosive period that has drastically shaped our world for better in many ways. Yes, we get to do this, communicate, use our devices, but for worse in many ways. Heck. The first telegraph message had people in New Jersey reading about something that happened to a guy in Texas. Or it might have been the other way around. It might have been the guy in Texas reading about New Jersey. Either way, for the first time, someone from a completely different place was finding out something completely irrelevant to them and their lives. Mystery solved. So, maybe it's worth knowing about the price of tea in China, but hey, I don't know. So when the world is throwing so much at you and you're just trying to keep up, just trying to survive this hyper novel landscape, well, what do? How do we reverse the tide? How do we identify hyper novelty in our own lives, in your own life? How do you undo the damage? And how do you stop hyper novelty from impacting you? Well, that we're in the darkness, that we have shed light on some of the dark aspects of our world. It will be noted here in this video now that I am not a medical doctor, nor am I here to give you medical advice or tell you what to do. So again, if it's not obvious already, not a medical doctor, not, I'm a jack of all trades, master of many, but I am not the be all end all answerer to your problems. That said, I can help guide you best I can. So let me guide you best I can. To help with our mouths and jaws and our faces, one, we should be breathing out of our noses as much as possible. If you need to, check out James Nestor. He has a book called Breathe. I've discovered through the help of some, some of my cohort here, local to me, how to breathe better, how to completely change my breathing. We don't breathe properly. It turns out that you kind of need to fill up air here. And if you're not feeling air, your like diaphragms push out on the sides here with your love handles, you're not getting a full breath. It's kind of crazy. I would check out Breathe with Sandy, the YouTube channel. Breathe with Sandy. Sandy is the man. If you haven't heard or checked out Sandy, Breathe with Sandy. Go breathe with Sandy. He's the best. But for our mouths and jaws focus specifically, um, again, not a doctor, not a dietitian, not a registered nutritionist, etc. But for myself, any processed food I take in, I try to make it as minimal as possible. Try to make sure that it's processed as minimally as possible. I try to make sure that if it's being processed, I'm the one doing the processing, whether it's via cooking, fermenting, which is amazing, blending things up. Yes, I want to make it clear that I aim to eat food that I can chew and that I can chew deliberately. That like is crunchy, has those feedback, has that feedback where I have to chew. Wolfing things down, eating fast, no bueno, friends. You can try to justify it all you want, but it is no bueno. Not for the digestive tract, not for this alimentary canal. As an alternative to eating foods that force me to chew over and over for hours, um, I chew gum for hours a day, um, anywhere from like 2 to 4 hours. Specifically, xylitol sweetened gum, because the xylitol helps promote a healthy biome for the mouth biome, thereby helping the whole alimentary canals biome. I digress. So again, what are the things to keep in mind here? One, we need to breathe properly because we've stopped breathing properly. Sometimes we're mouth breathers. People have sleep apnea, typically because they're overweight and stuff. But we want to restore the breathing to the nose. That does not mean that all mouth breathing is off the table. It means that some mouth breathing is necessary, mostly nose breathing for the future. We want to make sure that we're chewing, using our teeth so that it encourages these muscles to form properly and to develop and be used properly. Again, sidestep as an alternative, you can chew gum for many hours a day. Of course, if you start to develop jaw problems, see your local jaw person for help. Massage always helps too. If you need tips and tricks and pointers for that, just email us. I got a bunch. For your eyes, for your focus, for your sleep, how do we protect ourselves in that regard? We want to reduce the blue light and LED exposure in your world. At night, um, every light in my house is pretty dim. We've replaced a lot of the LED lights in our home, for instance, that came kind of standard with the apartment. Um, I also am huge on night mode. Like all of my devices that I personally use are automatically like out the box. Like I get into the settings, I make sure that everything's on night mode pretty much at all times. So I'm not being exposed to blue light all the time at all those hours of the day. You'll find out in why we sleep, why blue light is so detrimental. Um, you also sometimes might want to consider like a sleep mask, at night, and the earplugs to help you preserve your sleep. Um, if you are getting inadequate sleep, again, not a doctor, think about CBD, CBN, CBG, whether they're blends of tinctures, vapes. I know smoking is bad for you. It's always been bad, etc. You also might want to think of nootropics. I'm not like, I don't get like affiliate deals for recommending any of this stuff. So I'm just doing, just sharing with you what works best for me. Um, I take things like Alpha Brain. I think it's honestly like a mental steroid. It helps me focus like a champion because sometimes we got to do a lot of work and we need to get a lot done, and we only have so much conscious resource. If you haven't checked out the Distraction Eliminator, go watch that. That's going to help you understand what the limitations of your mind are and how hypernovelty is getting into that area. So I have a whole series on that. Go check it out. Um, I also try to time my caffeine intake. I am super caffeine sensitive. Maybe you're not like me, who has that sensitivity, but I try to take my coffee, give or take around 90 minutes after waking up. It's Andrew Huberman has given me that beautiful piece of information. Make sure to check out Dr. Hubie. He is an amazing resource. Um, and I try to avoid drinking coffee 3 to 4 hours after I've woken up. I really try to keep it out. It's like in this fundamentally very difficult window where 90 minutes after waking, but before the 3 hour mark, like I try to get my coffee in then, because it helps avoid just any disruptions to your sleep and making sure that the caffeine half life has already been exhausted. I also check out. I also recommend checking out Yoga Nidra to help you with your sleep. Andrew Huberman has a fantastic Yoga Nidra. It's like a 10-minute clip. That thing can put me to sleep instantly and also just kind of recharge me for the day. So please check that out. It's amazing. As far as just health and well-being maintenance, again, we mentioned a lot of the stuff for the jaw, a lot of the stuff with sleeping, and a lot of the stuff with our eyes. But just in general, walk as much as possible. Um, get sunlight, get outside. If you're like me in the northern hemisphere, like right now, vitamin D is really not, in the cards. But once like we hit into that like March range and we get into April, that's when we start seeing the tides turn, where we can get that vitamin D intake. I recommend supplements. I personally love Athletic Greens has the like an olive oil tincture. That's amazing. Again, I'm not. I'm just here to promote the things that I do. I'm not making any money off of that stuff. Um, then beyond that, think about doing a sled. The knees over toes guy, if you ever encounter Ben, Ben's awesome. Knees over toes exercises like sledding have been completely transformational for my legs and my well-being. So please, you want to also make sure that you're doing things like mobility training. You're doing structural release to release all the things we're sitting on. Everything's life is in front of us. Everything's tight. Our hamstrings are like in this weird tightened but weakened position because they're sitting all day. So you just want to make sure that you're doing mobility training, learning about structural release. Get a foam roller. I've got mine somewhere, but you want to do these things, learn about them because it's going to completely game change your workouts, going to game change your ability to reduce pain in your life. And personally, it really has opened my eyes to just how much movement is necessary for me to even feel good on a regular basis. Lastly, on that point, hydration. Drink water, baby. Like, duh. Don't mind my gum here. It's kind of gross. I know I'm gross, but I'm also not gross. So, and then two last topics here. Pain slash medication. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I personally, and I mean rarely, I mean rarely, even splitting headache, debilitating headaches aside, like I won't even take anything. You know, my fiance could tell you, like I'd never take a pill for anything unless I really have to. But even when I have like the most debilitating headaches, I will grin and bear it because I think pain is what is a teacher. Pain is a teacher, and pain reminds me that I am here and that I'm alive and that I should probably be doing something else to take care of myself. Masking the pain only hides the problem and thereby hides your ability to solve it. So for me, again, not saying that you should do anything any sort of way, but just be mindful of how things are impacting you. There's a lot of research saying that certain somethings that are very common. It starts with an A, starts with an I, starts with a you figure out what those medicines are. That they're actually not good for the liver, and that reproduction issues can surface. But hopefully you can figure out all that. Um, at the end of the day, I just had too many issues with the allopathic model of medicine. It's not to say that allopathy is wrong or misguided, maybe, um, but it really led to me having issues as a kid dealing with an immunodeficiency. I took too many antibiotics, was subscribed to that treatment regime for a long time, and now I strive to embrace alternatives when and where I can find them. I've had a lot of breakthroughs with things like massage, meditation, self-reflection, auditing myself. But that's a journey that, if you want to take it offline with me, I'm happy to take that journey with you and help you figure it out. Lastly, spiritual cleansing. We will touch upon the spiritual habit in the more lighter, toned work, in the lighter content. But for now, what I just want to put out there is that there are different forms of compassion meditation. It's called metta, mudita, karuna. So metta meaning loving kindness, mudita, sympathetic joy, and karuna, compassion. These are meditations where you specifically visualize either yourself or other beings and creatures in this world, and you wish them love, you wish them well, you imagine them being happy, you imagine them being smiling and good, and you hold space for that in your mind. And it's super healing, super anxiety reducing. And then also there's what's called vipassana, which I've kind of modified for myself at times. It's very focused meditation, ideally helping you build up your attention, but also what's called equanimity or non-judgment, helping you just kind of be present with everything as it is without trying to change it. I think we all have to kind of go there every day. Sometimes we don't realize that just by sitting, following your breath for like 10 minutes at a time will get you into that place where you can do the best work from. I recommend, starting maybe 10 minutes, do some 10-minute breath work where you just follow your breath in and out. You can count the breaths. 1, 1, like in, out is 1, in, 2, and just do that. If you lose count, begin again. And if you manage to count the whole time, then congrats, you were able to stay focused. And then every week, add a minute. It's kind of how I approached a lot of my meditation for a long time. Yeah, it's an amazing, amazing thing if you can keep at it. Really is. It's a game changer. But I want to end today with a brief parable, a brief discussion, a brief little thing. A brief little thing. Yes, yes, yes. H.G. Chesterton. Have you ever heard of Chesterton's fence? Yes, no, maybe so. Chesterton's fence is a parable about two boys kind of, sprawling through some woods in England. And they come upon a stone fence in the middle of the woods. And one of the boys goes, let's let's take this damn thing down. Let's take these dang stones down. What's it here for? Let's destroy it. And the other boy goes, well, we don't know what it's for. We don't know why it's here. Maybe we should try to understand it before we take it apart, change it, or do anything to it. That is the lesson of hypernovelty. To think about the ways in which we've changed things without really understanding why we have changed them. Or maybe we do understand why we've changed them and we don't care what the impact is, but you care what the impact is. I care what the impact is. And that's why we're here. We're learning about hypernovelty so that we can do something about it in our own lives, manage it, mitigate it together, become heroes together. This is the Hero's Den, baby. And welcome. Welcome to Get with the Deprogram. Get with the Deprogram, baby. See through hypernovelty, see through how it's impacted you, and know that on the other side, you can heal, uplift, and empower yourself, that you can work towards a better life, that you can manage these things, that you can manage the chaos of this world and create, tap in to your natural humanness, your human beingness. You got this, baby. We're in this together. Know that we can get with the deprogram and break through the mire, break through the thick of it together. We got this. So, again, my name is Jordan here from Without Bounds. Thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. Thank you. Make sure, again, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button, avoid the thumbs down. This is a thumb more for the up. Subscribe, share this video with anyone that you know who needs this message, anyone who you think would be benefited by it. And thank you for joining me again. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful time in life. And I will see you next time, my friend.